Picard.
Thanks. Well, no pressure for me, huh? Yikes. I've spent the last 2 months since Jamie said, could you come be the only male speaker at the Women in Green Club? And I just didn't want to blow it. There's no way I'm going to blow it somewhere along the line. I'm going to say something that I just couldn't get it right. And the reason I'm here is because I want to share with you the fact that I've been in a lot of starting points. I've been in a lot of rooms the very first day. I've been in a lot of places for the very first thing. So for about 20 years in the career of green building, my whole life wasn't really relevant. The work didn't really matter. But in the last couple of years, it's really mattered. And over those 20 years, the greening of the White House, working with Ray Anderson, walking in interface and going, you don't get it. What don't we get it? Being there at the point where you take a stand on something you believe in and push back. And I just want to tell you, I know, I feel, and one of my gifts is I can tell when something is going to move. I was in the first U.S. Green Building Council meeting. There was 86 people in the room. And in November, there'll be over 50,000. All these people focused on just doing one thing, trying to do some good in the world, like you. So, and your emotion was amazing. That I could see your eyes welling up, and I could feel your heart pounding all the way up here. And I cry a lot when I talk, and I told Sarah, this is the one time I'm not going to cry because I'm so damn committed to things, and I think about my children. And what we have in common, some men and women, I just look at the whole world through the eyes of my children. So I'm here today to try to help you get a sense of where the jobs are, what not to do, what a tough time we're in. And Jamie, talk about a shitty economy to start this. Oh my God, I'm so surprised you're all here. I mean, this is major because the Greenville Conference is an event that changes the world now, and there are a lot of women in that. But we live in a world that the first industrial revolution was engineered by men. My dad, I have 4 brothers. My dad put us on the moon. I have a really interesting childhood. I can tell a quick story. My brothers and I used to build tree houses. And when we built the tree houses, when we got bored with them, and we thought we were builders, but when we got bored with them, we burned them down to build the next set. And we looked at each other and went, we're developers. So this world, engineered by men, needs a breakthrough. I've seen a lot of things happen. My summary of this was, how can I tell you that I know what's going to change the green building movement. I see the technologies, I know what not to do, I know so much about this built world, I know we're sitting in the dark right now. I know we can put the earth to work. I know that men will never balance the biosphere and the technosphere. Men won't, but you will. Because it's who you are. You have that life cycle voice in you. You have that hopefulness. Well, when my brothers and I burned it down to become developers, we really didn't know. And I've lived in this competitive world of building things. Every building that I built, and I built the 3 most expensive houses in the world. So I've been to the other side, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. My last house used $50,000 a month, electricity, coal-fired, and they weren't home. They weren't home. And that client sent me on a jet one day to fly over the U.S. to pick up an important piece of fabric to match an umbrella for a wedding. And I thought, here I am on a Gulfstream jet doing God's work. No. And the pilot said to me, you know, we're going to sealing the plane out. Some of you know me, heard this story, but it's important because it's one of the things that just completely made me tap the brake, realize who I am, who I'm not, why I'm here. My dad put us on the moon. And I had good grades, but I was never going to put anybody on the moon. And the pilot said, hey, we're going to sealing the plane out tonight, and it's kind of dangerous, but you're the only one on it, so we thought we'd ask. But the good news is you're going to get to see the curvature of the earth. And when I got to see the curvature of the earth, everything about my dad, and everything about the ability to look from the moon, look at the earth and see this magical place that allows life to begin, it just occurred to me. I was completely bankrupt in the direction I was going with my career. I had to do something. I had no idea what to do. Like you, some of you, right? You have no idea what to do. So I landed and I spent 2 years as an eco-warrior. I went out to find nature where things were at their worst. Tuna dolphin issues, tigers, rainforest. My only 2 clients were Sony and Warner, so what do? I go down and participate in a direct action campaign with Rainforest Action Network and Greenpeace to stop tropical hardwoods from becoming film sets that last an important 3 weeks. You can know that too. So it's not easy being at the beginning. And the one thing I have to say that you have to remain is inspired and connected, totally connected. So when I get in front of Greenville conferences with a bunch of contractors, I don't try to connect them. I thought about it, what's one of the one things I can do with you guys today to connect you? Because this room, this group of people, hey, you guys were chosen. You were chosen by yourselves to take the move, to come down here, to be part of this. There's something in here, something magical about you leaving something behind, not taking today. And so you guys have to get to know everybody in this room fiercely, because the things that worked for me when the USGBC started, we became friends. So you, starting group here, have to become wild good friends, inspired, and stay connected. This world built on low bids, you can knock it out with life cycle engineering. You can knock it out with nurturing designs and innovation. And I'll tell you about some of the areas where there's some job opportunities in a little bit, because raise your hands. How many are here? How many are you at your crossroads in your life, in your career, in how you feel about who you are, wanting to go to somewhere else? How many of you came here because this is something that feels so right for you that you've got to do this? How many? Well, that's mostly the room. And I've been there. And it is not going to be easy. I have been in boardrooms where I have been the minority, no matter whether it was all men or women. I've had women push me right out of the room too. And I'm just trying to do good. But I never gave up. And so you can never give up when you are protecting natural law. This is a fight for the rest of your life. And I live in the green build world. And I think what Maggie talked about, and my notes are written on the back of the sign-up form for Prop 23. I mean, that is, so you guys have to go out and follow her lead and honor her talk and fill out that form. And well, cold, please. I just spent 4 days with the Chinese, the 30 richest men in China. One guy's building a city 30 miles by 30 miles. And he asked me like 6 questions. He's like, should I do it sustainably? Yes. How do I do it sustainably? I'll tell you how. Is it going to cost more? No. Well, that's not what I do. And the guy's going, he just got on the airplane and he went from bad to good in about 8 minutes. There's a conversion. So, and I think the other thing you should feel is the fact that some of you are leaders. It took me a long time. I woke up one day and I realized I'm a leader in the space, but I wasn't acting like it. So for those of you who are in the room, I can look at you, I can't sense it. You may be, if you feel that, if you feel like it, you've got to step out. You've got to take the risk. You've got to wake up tomorrow and drop all those institutional barriers. Drop the gender barrier, drop your age barrier, drop all those things that influence you not to be the most that you could be, not to be what you could possibly be, and just run with it. Nature's an amazing place to work. And that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about working with nature, not against it. We're talking about changing the dynamics of the world so that we can give back to it. That really protecting where life begins. One of the other big lessons in my life was I helped birth my kids. My OB didn't touch my daughter 3 months ago until she helped me cut the cord. I delivered my daughter. That was amazing. Most of the guys I work with, most of the men I know, just don't get a sense of how magical it is to be part of life. My dad died, and I realized we had nothing to do with yet going away. We just died. When my daughter was born, I realized we had nothing to do with arriving here. We just arrived. And everything else in between. That's what matters. And you got to be switched on. And you got to be connected. And you got to be inspired. So I want you guys to all stand up. And I want you to look to the person to your left. I want you to introduce yourselves and say hi.